Is there something you've been wanting to say, but you've been holding back because you're too afraid to say it? In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to say something that you're scared to say.
This is Love Smarter, the show for women who want extraordinary love and aren't afraid to learn for it. Here's your host, Laurie-Anne King.
Hey. Have you been withholding your thoughts because you're afraid to say them? In today's episode, we are talking all about how to say something scary. It can be really scary to speak our thoughts. Often we're afraid of how the other person will react, or what they'll think of us, how they might feel about it, or what they might do because of what we have to say. And in this kind of position, it can feel like it's a lot safer to just say nothing at all. To have true intimacy, it's important to be able to share things with our partner, especially things that make us feel vulnerable. The formula for intimacy is vulnerability plus compassion. When you are willing to be vulnerable, you unconsciously give the other person permission to do the same, and a space of intimacy gets created. As women, we are the emotional leaders in our relationship, and it's our job to set the emotional tone. By being vulnerable first, you make it possible for your partner to be vulnerable as well. Vulnerability is what moves people deeper into a relationship. It's being willing to give someone else a glimpse of your private experience. And it can feel really scary and really tender to do so. Here is my 5-step process that makes saying something scary just a little bit easier. Number 1, know what you want to say. Okay, this is pretty obvious. If there's something you want to communicate, it's important you know exactly what it is. What is the thing that you've been withholding, the thing you've been afraid to say? The second step is to know why you want to say it. What is your intention behind saying it? Perhaps you just want to be self-expressed. You want a feeling of freedom, like you can say anything to your partner. Or maybe you have an intention that there always be honesty or closeness. Maybe you want to say it because you're concerned or worried about something. It doesn't matter what your reason is, but it's important that you know it. Know the reason why you want to communicate this. The third step is to figure out what it is that you are afraid of. Usually when you get clarity around what you want to say, what will show up right after it is the reason why you shouldn't say it. So what is it that you're afraid of? Are you afraid of their reaction? Maybe you think they'll get really angry. Or maybe you're afraid of a decision they might make as a result of what you have to say. The questions to ask yourself are, can I be with their emotions about this? Can I just let them have the kind of reaction that they're going to have and just handle it? Or can I deal with the consequences of what they might decide to do? Once you know what it is that you're afraid of, you have all the information that you need to have the conversation with them. This brings us to step 4. Tell them what it is that you're afraid of, and tell them why you're going to communicate anyway. So often, the reason our mind comes up with as to why we shouldn't say what we want to say is actually the thing to tell our partner. That's the vulnerability. That's what lets them know that what we're saying is hard for us. It might sound something like, this is really hard for me to say because I'm worried that once I say it, you're going to get really angry. But I'm committed that we always have honesty in our relationship. So I'd like to tell you. Introducing your communication like this does a couple of things. First, it lets your partner know that what you're doing isn't easy for you to do. That right there gives them an opportunity to have compassion for you. The second thing it does is let them know what you're worried about. In a lot of ways, this can inoculate the concern. Like if you let them know that you're worried they might get angry, they're actually less likely to get angry about it. And the third thing it does is it makes your intention really clear. The positive intention behind your communication is obvious to them. So even if they get upset about what you are saying, they still can respect why you're saying it. Framing the conversation with this kind of information of what it is that you're afraid of and why you're going to say it anyway helps bring your partner into a little private glimpse of your experience. This is actually the vulnerable part. And this is what makes it possible for two people to see things from a similar point of view. It's by actually sharing your point of view. The fifth step is to say what it is you wanted to say. This is where you go out on the limb and express yourself and say the thing you've been afraid to say. Of course, we can't control how our partner responds, but by following these 5 steps, we can have total clarity around what it is that we want to say, why we want to say it, and what we're afraid of. And when we share that information with our partner, we prime them to be more receptive to what it is that we have to say. If you're worried about being interrupted or not getting to finish what you want to say, you can ask for that too. You could say, "This is really hard for me to tell you, and I'd appreciate it if you don't say anything until I let you know that I'm done. Then I really want to know what you have to think about it." Being vulnerable is always a little bit scary, but it's such an important part of our relationship. Vulnerability plus compassion equals intimacy. And romantic relationships are built on a foundation of intimacy. So give your partner the opportunity to be compassionate and lead with your vulnerability. If you ever find yourself at a loss for what to say, when in doubt, tell the truth. Often the thought that we're having that's preventing us from saying it is the exact thing that we need to be sharing with our partners. So where have you been withholding? What are you not saying because you're afraid of their reaction? Can you muster up the courage to be vulnerable and share what's on your heart? All right, that's all for today. I will catch you next time, and until then, love smarter. Hey, did you like this episode? Then you will love my upcoming live online class. You'll leave with insights that improve your love life immediately. Plus, you'll have the chance to ask me anything. This class is completely free and it always fills up quickly, so head on over to laking.tv/free class to register right now. See you in class!